Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we are continuing those mock drafts this whole offseason to help you guys ready for fantasy football. Yes, we are talking redraft. This right now is a 12-team full PPR league, and we are in the 4th spot, so let's jump right into it. All right, so as you can see, we are in the 4th spot of a 12-team league, which means this is going to be, I think, the prime spot. Between 4 and 6 are my favorite spots of any 12-team league that is out there. Now, of course, if you're in anything like a 10-team league, or maybe you're in a 14 or beyond, that might change a little bit. But I love between the 4th and the 6th spot. I think you are in the best position to have some of the best players, especially setting up your roster and getting the real feel for that. And we're going to jump right into this. Again, if you haven't checked out the others, make sure you guys check out 1 through 3 if you're in those positions. And of course, if you guys have other different formats, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to make some videos to help you guys out because football season is almost here. So let's get this draft started. Now, in a traditional full PPR league, I tend to still go running back heavy. I love grabbing a running back if I can. Now, of course, there's some premier wide receivers like you can see here, and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, but I absolutely love the running back position. Now, if my league is set up right now like this and Saquon Barkley is taken at the 101 and both top tier wide receivers are gone, I'm absolutely going to grab a running back in Bijan Robinson. I think he's going to end up possibly being the top back this upcoming season. You can obviously debate it and say Barkley again, maybe Gibbs, or even like a Devon Achane. Like he's got that possibility, but I love Bijan Robinson, especially at the 4th spot. Now you can see a lot more running backs go. A lot of the top tier wide receivers are gone. Again, in my way of drafting, I am a running back hero. Especially in the 4th spot, I'm going to grab the top 2 running backs I possibly can in position that are going to have some success, because in the 3rd, you can still get a really good wide receiver. And so looking at the options here, looking at the running back positions, you've got players like Josh Jacobs and Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor. I will take the risk in getting Christian McCaffrey in the 2nd round, especially kind of towards the end. Look, if I had a player like Devon Achane, absolutely jumped on that. I think he's a really good spot. I even really like Josh Jacobs. I think he's in a really good spot too, but Christian McCaffrey, if he ends up being anywhere near the health that he was in 2 years ago, absolutely a perfect spot in the 2nd round. Now, you'll see a few of the rushing quarterbacks start to go in some of these leagues. Now, depending on, your league mates the best, you're going to see when you have to go get players like that. For me, a lot of leagues I've been in, quarterbacks don't start really going about maybe round 7 or so. You might see a few stragglers here or there go a little bit earlier than that. A lot of times you can hold off on getting a top wide quarterback a lot later and get your other positions filled. Now, I've got my 2 running backs. Obviously, I still have a flex player, wide receivers, and tight end. This is not a tight end super premium league. If it was, this would have been a whole different draft, even though you see players like Bowers and McBride already gone. Now, looking at the options here, I like McConkey. I like Smith and Jigba. Tyreek Hill still has the possibility. It's even tempting to grab another running back like Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown. Like, man, to have them have top 3 running backs with the potential of using one as a trade bait or a flex, obviously filling in for bye weeks. Like, those are things you got to account for. But I think I want to fill out my wide receiver spot. Maybe one of those running backs falls back down to me in the 4th, and I'm going to grab that. But realistically, I want to get a wide receiver here. And looking at this, I'm going to go grab Ladd McConkey. Really good spot for him to have some success into this 2nd season for him. That Trey Harris finally decided to sign his contract with the Chargers. So again, another good weapon outside to help McConkey have a little bit less, I would say targets, or I wouldn't say the targets, but focus on him on the defensive side. Now, I'm not surprised the running back started to go. Jonathan Taylor, Kyron, I get that. I would love to have gotten Breece Hall in this 4th round because I think he's still a stud and everyone's overlooking him because of what's happened in the offseason. There's a lot of rumors of it being a complete committee backfield. But he didn't get there, so I'm going to go look forward. Now, looking at this, I think I could end up getting a player like Alvin Kamara, Kenneth Walker in the 4th. I want to get another wide receiver here to kind of fill out this roster. So I'm going to go grab Mike Evans here. I get he's obviously older, but realistically, he's still a top target for Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got Chris Godwin coming off an injury. We'll see what the rookie Bupa does. I think he'll actually do really well, but we'll see how he translates coming out of college. Mike Evans is a good option here. A couple more running backs are obviously gone. I'm not going to go to the quarterback position. I'm actually going to end up grabbing Alvin Kamara. look, he's being my third running back. I'm not going to hate it. I could have gone and got players like Hampton, Kenneth Walker. I like Kamara because still, he's going to be really one of the few options that the Saints have, and they're going to rely on him a lot. I know he hasn't cracked 1,000 yards on the ground. Will he ever? I don't know, but I like him as my third running back / flex player. I think he's a really good spot there. So now that I've got most of my starters here, I feel really good about this team. Now, I'm not going to go quarterback yet, obviously, just because, again, I think later on I can get a really good quarterback still. I could look at the tight end position, right? You've got Hawkinson here, who's coming off of he came off of injury towards the end of the season. Really good option at the tight end position. I still think running back or wide receivers are always the best way to go. Tight ends can be hit or miss. I love Tetora McMillan. I like George Pickens, Jameson Williams, really good options here. Chris Olave. I still like a lot of these guys here as my third wide receiver. So looking at all of these options here, I'm actually end up going to Tetora McMillan. It's a little bit of a risk, but I think he's going to be a really good option for Bryce Young as his number one wide receiver, and he's probably going to see a lot of options there. And with that swing around, I actually love getting Chris Olave here as my fourth wide receiver. I don't need him to be a stud. Could he possibly? Maybe. There's a lot of quarterback issues going on in the New Orleans Saints, backfield. Obviously, you've only got Alvin Kamara to really compete with. I do look with, Shaheed there as well, but I'm not really sure Olave can really overcome some of the issues that he's got with the quarterback position, and he's still a concussion away to possibly end his career, and hopefully that doesn't happen. So I've got a couple more my players here. I got 3 more bench. I still got my tight end and quarterback position. I'm going to hold off on the quarterback position because looking at the quarterbacks, I could still get players like Bo Nix, who was a stud. Jared Goff, stud. There's some really good quarterbacks. I'm going to still hold off there. I want to get more depth, and I still got to consider, obviously, the bye weeks. So looking at this and the options here, DeAndre Swift's a good option. I love Calvin Ridley here. We'll see if Cam Ward loves him the same way. Excuse me. And I really like the option of getting Caleb Johnson for the Steelers as a nice little backup. I'm going to hold off on him because I still think I could possibly get him a little bit later. He may just get skipped completely, and I may not be able to grab him. I'm going to grab the veteran and Calvin Ridley, especially where Kim Ward's going to obviously have to use him as an option there and, get him plenty of targets. All right, so with that said, DeAndre Swift's gone, Brian Robinson, Caleb Johnson, I knew was going to go. I had a feeling for that, but I wanted to get Calvin Ridley. Now, looking at this, I do want to get some, obviously, other options at the running back position. I've got 5 wide receivers. I may add a 6th. We'll see how that plays out. So I do want to get another running back here. And looking at the options here, Tyrone Tracy's in a good spot. He's not necessarily an absolute stud. He did really well for the Giants last season. Yes, they added a rookie as well and Scatabo. But I still think Tracy, this is his job to lose, and I don't think he's going to necessarily lose it. So I like him there. Travis Etienne was another one I was considering just because I think he's in a good position in this Panthers offense, but I like Tracy a little bit more, just I think in an offense that he's at least in a good spot. Now I've got to fill another tight end. I got to fill a tight end, quarterback, and then my last bench player. Now looking at the tight end options, you got some good options here. Njoku's a really good one. Warren, we'll see how he comes out, as a rookie. Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson, even Kyle Pitts, as far as he's dropped in these, which is crazy. And then looking at the quarterback position, you got Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, so really good options still. I'm actually going to end up grabbing Justin Herbert to pair up with Lab McConkey because I think that's a really good pairing. And then obviously I've got to get another position here filled, which is the tight end position. Looking at the tight end position, I like the options of possibly Kincaid, Kraft, Kyle Pitts. I'm actually going to end up grabbing Jake Ferguson or Kincaid. Between those two players, I think I'm going to end up going Kincaid. I think he's going to be the player that I think he'll come back. He didn't have a great second season, especially after what he was like in his rookie season. I think there's a lot of expectations out of him. Being that he's not a stud, I still think he's a good option. You could always get a backup tight end. I've seen people draft 2 tight ends if you're not in a tight end premium league and you don't necessarily need them. A lot of times you can waiver tight ends throughout the season, so I don't necessarily put a lot of it on it unless you're going to spend early and get players like Laporta or Kittle or something like that. Kincaid's a good option here. Now, obviously, I need defense and kicker and a flex. I'm going to get my last flex player here. And look at the flex player options here. I've got players like the rookie and Jaden Higgins, who I think is going to be a good one. Tajai Spears, who's obviously getting more and more implemented in the offense. I got players like Shaheed, who I really like. Even Marvin Mims. There's a lot of good options, I still think, as a flex. I'm actually going to be getting Tank Bigsby we're not really sure if Jacksonville is going to really fully ride Travis Etienne the rest of the season. We'll see how things play out, but Bigsby has a nice little super late draft pick. I love that right there. Obviously, I got to get my kickers here. I'm going to get Tyler Bass for a really good offense. Fairbairn's another one I really like too as far as the kicker, but I'll take him there. And then obviously you got to get your defense. Now looking at defense, you got again, strength of schedule. You got to look at what they've done past and possible present. And look at the options here. You've got, teams like the Jets who are solid defensively. Tennessee Titans have actually been pretty good, but I'll take the Jets here in the defensive side. Again, defense is one of those things you're going to probably pick up in waivers throughout the season and based off the matchups. So let's go jump right into what this recap looks like. All right, so that is my draft at the 4th position. Of course, let me know in the comments how you felt that went. Maybe you have done some different things. And of course, if you guys have different formats, I'd love to do some videos for you guys. Let me know. I've done all kinds of different videos in the past, last summer and the summer before that, to help you guys get ready for this upcoming season. Now, of course, mini camps are happening, training camps, all that fun stuff. Nothing so far as injuries, which is great news, and hopefully that stays that way. Obviously, players on PUP are on there, but I'm not overly concerned. So far, hopefully every player is healthy coming out of their training camps and going into the preseason. Preseason is going to be here before you know it, so that is awesome, which means we are going fully into the draft season. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Check out all my other videos as well. I'll be putting some Dynasty content to help you guys out with some of that. A lot of great stuff, especially with the rookies and players you may want to consider, trading for or maybe letting go. And of course, check out all the videos, share the video if you want, and I'll see you guys next time.